Good morning, everyone. Hi. How was the party yesterday night? Good? Well, hopefully you enjoyed it, and now we're ready for more sessions today in the morning. So I'm Bernardo Zamora. I work in the Universal Store.
And I'm Jonathan Garrig. I also work in the Universal Store.
Oh, I'm glad we're able to have the opportunity to talk to you today about the Universal Store and how can you make your apps do better in the store. And we'll walk through different areas of things you can do. So starting with the opportunity that exists today for the apps and a few new announcements we have for new opportunities to make your apps reach a larger audience or make more money. Second is we'll talk about once you decide how your app is going to be built, then how are you going to present it to your customers to be able to get more of them engaged, downloading, and acquiring your apps and games. Later, we'll talk about once you do that, then you have to think about how do you release your app and game, and how are you going to plan the schedule, betas, and a few new big announcements we have there. And finally, once your app is in the store, also think about how do you make it better. How do you analyze it better? How do you debug it better? How do you put it on sale? So very new features that we haven't announced before, so hopefully you'll find them useful for everything you're building. So let me start with the store. The store is the place where you actually put up your apps on sale, and they're available for every device. You can see it can work on a phone, on a PC, tablet, all the way to Xbox One, even HoloLens. So you can reach all of those devices, and you can reach all the customers that are using those devices. So for example, all the apps and games that are in the store, Microsoft is making a very big effort to make sure people know about them. We promote those products, we promote those games in Bing, in Edge, in the Windows shell. And how big is that effort? Well, just last March, 8.8 billion times your apps appeared in your customers. So we're actively promoting those apps and games. That has driven a lot of visits. Again, just last March, we had more than 500 million customer visits to the store looking for apps and games. And that has resulted, for example, in year over year for Windows 10, just in-app purchase, which is a key mechanism to get more revenue, it has doubled. So even today, opportunity is large. But we're adding a few more things to make it even larger. The first one is we announced a couple months ago the opportunity to take your games to Xbox One. So not only apps, you can do that. Today you take a UWP app, put it on Xbox One. Now any game you build is going to be able to access more than 50 million Xbox Live users, tens and tens of millions of Xbox One gamers. And the way you do it today is you have to join the Xbox Live Creators Program. Once you're accepted, I mean, everybody's being accepted now, you go in and you configure and you test your game, and over summer you'll be able to publish it. So we're doing all the final checks and tests to be able to get it ready to be published, but you can start testing and coding right now. You have to integrate with Xbox Live, at least for initial presence. You can add also achievements. What's interesting is if you join this program, if you start submitting your apps on Xbox One, it works well for you, you can keep on growing that opportunity by joining the ID at Xbox program and then add more Xbox Live capabilities.
So I think it's worth pointing out, Bernardo, that this applies to existing games as well. So if you have a game that's already in the Windows Store and you want to make that game available on Xbox, you can join this program and just update that game and make it available on Xbox.
Yeah, that's a great point. And if this is interesting, if you want to learn more, there's another session just dedicated explicitly to the Xbox Live Creators Program. So again, even existing games, as you mentioned, now have the option to run on Xbox One. Another one of the big features we're adding is, even for existing users, we want to make sure if you want to make money out of advertising, you can make more money than before. So we've added new ways of showing ads in your apps. For example, interstitial banners. You can see there, it's a full page that appears. You can typically do it between levels of your game. That is supported. You can do it right now. That's the way you show it in your app, and you make money from interstitial ads. There's also video ads, native ads, and even playable ads. Playable ads are ads where you can actually play the game. So let me show you how that works. Can you help me?
Oh,
Okay.
maybe let me fuss with this and we
Yeah.
can come back to that demo.
Okay. So the idea of the playable ads is that you click on the ad, you view the game, and you're playing the game. We found that, for example, in banners, only 3 to 5% of people click on the banner and then download the app. In video ads, with some examples that we had running so far, you get between 30 and 50% conversion rate. That means people, because the users are seeing your app or your game, they know exactly what they're going to get. And not only that, once they get the game, they keep on playing it a lot more than if they had found it in a banner, because they see exactly what they're going to get.
You're that tough's woken up. So it's worth adding that you don't have to make a facsimile of your app in HTML like some other platforms do. This is actually your code. It loads your package. It is your game. It runs right in line. There's no additional work necessary to become a playable ad.
That's a great point. In other platforms, if you want to make a playable ad, you have to create a special HTML version of the game. Right here, what we're making sure it's available is your existing game as is. So here's an ad. People click on it, and it loads, and it shows the real game.
All right, so this is not the Solitaire app showing an ad for the Solitaire app, yes?
No, exactly. This is the game. And people can start playing it, and they like it. They have 2-3 minutes to play for it. And then after the 2-3 minutes, they can click here right now or wait until the end, and they get a pop-up that says, you need to actually go and get it. It seems you liked it, go get it. So extremely effective way of getting more customers. And so that's one area of advertising that has improved tremendously and given you more opportunity to be able to make more revenue from ads. The second half of the equation is promoting your own apps. If you as you've seen, all of these mechanisms, interstitial, native, playable, are very effective. You can go to Dev Center, configure it, and being able to start promoting your apps. And even if you want playable, as you saw, you don't need to do anything else. Your existing game will be playable as soon as users click on it. So big opportunity even for existing games, make more money, promote your app better. The next area of opportunity is subscriptions. We've talked about subscriptions, and right now, we are now in preview. We have several games and apps using subscription right now, and we plan to open it over the summer. So if you have an app or game that has digital services, music, media, dating, sports, all of those, you can get your customers to pay monthly or quarterly or every semester or year. And Microsoft automatically charges them, and your app can continue to provide that service. So that's a brand new opportunity. It's coming in the summer. If you have an app or game that you want to start testing subscriptions right now, come see us at the end of this presentation, and we'll see if we can get you in the preview of subscriptions. So it's a big opportunity now. And not only subscription is another way of reaching customers, also a reminder that when you submit your app into the Dev Center, into the Windows Store, it's also available to companies and educational institutions. So if you heard all the recent announcements Microsoft has done, trying to reach out to education, trying to increase the footprint in government, in companies, well, you don't have to do extra work. Just put it in Dev Center, and the apps show there. So it's again, expanding the opportunity for apps that you might already have today. And not only are we giving you options to expand your opportunity, Microsoft also has done a lot of improvements in the store to make it easier for your customers to get your apps and games. So for example, if you are not logged into the store, and you're a user, and you just want to try out a free app, previously you had to click on the app, and you say, oh, you're not logged in. You have to create a Microsoft account. You go in, create a Microsoft account, put your email account, phone address. I mean, the user has already left the store. They don't come back. So right now, what we have is one-click install. Even if the user hasn't logged in, they just have to go to the store, like this here, for example, and it's a free app. As long as it's less than 13-year-old age rating, they get. That's it. Super easy. They don't have to go through all the process of downloading, trying to download it, trying to log in, and trying to put their credentials. So much easier for free apps to be just tested out there. And then you can offer in-app purchase, you can offer subscription, you can offer advertising in all of them. So we're seeing an increasing number of users just getting those free apps more quicker. And finally, to power all that store for you developers, there's Dev Center. Dev Center is the place where you manage all your apps, manage all your games. We had Dev Center live for several years. And we received a lot of feedback on things we needed to do better across all Dev Centers. So I'll walk you through several of the improvements in Dev Center that show how the portal has been a lot more streamlined to make it easy for you to just navigate and manage multiple apps. So for Dev Center insiders, starting this week, you all have access to new experience that is organized a little bit differently. On the left-hand side, you have all the account-wide settings. So you can see promo codes for all your apps. You can configure them. You can do analytics for all your apps. You can do customer groups for all your apps. So all your app-wide settings are on the left. It uses all the screen space much more efficiently. On the top, you have monetization, how much money you've been paid. You have all the feedback. In case you want to keep giving us feedback, it's here. All your settings, much easier to organize. And if you go to an individual page, then you can see the settings that apply and the options that apply just to that app or game. And one of the requests that was very, very common is if I have multiple apps and I want to switch between one app or the other, I had to navigate out, just find the app in this dashboard, sort it out, click it, just too much work. So what we have now is this quick switch. So if you're already inside an app doing something and then you want to move to another app, you just click here, search, click on it. Again, much more effective way of navigating through multiple apps and games. So that's live for all of you. As you're in the Dev Center Insider, please make sure to try it out, give us feedback. And the first time you use this new portal, you'll have a quick demo. It's a first-time run experience. It'll point you to the key new things that are there. So I strongly recommend using it. I've been using it for the past month and a half. It's just a lot more effective, especially if you have more than one app or game. So we walked through existing opportunity and things we're making to grow that opportunity to help you make more money or reach more customers. And let's say, okay, you're decided, now you're ready to start building your app, bringing your app to the store. How do you make it more exciting for customers to actually like that app and being able to download it and say, I love it? Jonathan, do you have something to talk to us about?
I do have some ideas that I can share. So good morning, everybody. You have spent a lot of time creating a great app experience. How do you get that experience in front of your customers? Because you know that if they could just see it, if they could see the gameplay, if they could immerse themselves in that experience, they would absolutely buy your game or buy your app if they could just see all of the things that it could do. So I'm going to show you how to do that. This is Astroneer. It is a game in the store. And when I pull up the store listing, I get to see exactly what the experience will be if I buy the game. Full width at the top of the store listing, and suddenly I have a really good idea of how much fun Astroneer is going to be. And it basically sells itself because it's so easy to communicate to your customers. It's hard to get people to read text. It's hard to get people to click through your screenshots, but as soon as they go to your store listing and see the video, they can see that experience right in front of them. And honestly, it makes me want to buy the game. I think I'm going to have to do that later. So this is the video that plays on the top of the listing is one of many. You can also scroll down, and Astroneer has provided 2 videos. So if your customer clicks on one of the other videos, they get the full screen video experience with the relaxing Astroneer sound. And they get this high quality experience that your game will provide. There really isn't a better tool than video trailers. So I'm really happy to announce today that video trailers are coming to all apps and games in the Windows Store, and we're already starting that rollout. All right, let's go ahead and go back to slides. So let's talk about what you can do through Dev Center to make these experiences show up to your customers. So the first is you saw the Astroneer trailer play at the top of the store listing. And the user doesn't get sound at that point because it's kind of intrusive to go somewhere and start playing sound right away. But they do get the sound if they explicitly click on the video below. The first video trailer that you put in your listing will automatically appear at the top of the page. You can add up to 15 trailers total, but that first one is very important because that is the most visible. Eventually, videos end. And at that point, you have control of what image will appear at the end of the video. It's not just the last frame in the video. There's an explicit image, and I've called out on the slide which of the images in the store listing that is. So you have really fine-grained control of that experience. If you didn't have the budget for videos yet, you're still working on it, you can provide this promo image, and it will show up in place of a video. We've also enabled the upload of larger store logos. So usually Dev Center uses the logo that is in your package. So it's the same logo in the store as your customers see when they've installed your app and game. But we got some feedback, hey, we'd like a bigger logo, a higher resolution logo, slightly different form factor. So there are new options for providing logos that are specific to how your app displays in the store. We've also upgraded the screenshots and trailers because we know that 4K devices are becoming ubiquitous. And so we want to make sure that you can provide the resolution of those screenshots and trailers in 4K. So that's a lot of fields. And we also know that, as Bernardo said, like the benefit of being in the store is reaching an enormous audience. And that audience is worldwide. So we have apps and games in the store that have 50, we even have some that are over 100 languages that they support. So they have a full store listing for each one of those languages. And we let you, like a full featured listing with all the assets is up to 188 different assets. And we read all of your feedback. It is super important to us. And what we heard loud and clear is, this is a lot of configuration, it's taking much too long, could we please speed it up? So we did, and we've trialed this with a few publishers, and the Gears of War publisher said, wow, we were doing a bunch of add-ons, we used import-export, and it reduced the time that we took to create these add-ons by 80%. So I'm gonna show you how that works. All right, so here's my publishing demo app. And I have my submission that's in progress, and I only have one language configured. This is my English language. I have text. I have screenshots for all the device families that my app supports. I have trailers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this Export Listings new feature here. And Dev Center is going to take all of the text that I've entered using the UI. It's going to take all of the images, all of the trailers, and it's going to roll it up into this CSV file that I can just double-click on and open in Excel. So on the left, the first column tells me which field it is. I have a short description, and then I can see all of my English listing in this column here. So let's talk about these references to images. I've uploaded a bunch of images for my English listing. And we know that when you're working with CSV, it's sometimes hard to know which desktop screenshot is that. So we made it really easy to just copy that link into the browser, and you can see that asset that Dev Center already knows about. It's still authenticated. I'm logged into Dev Center. That's why I can see it. But so these are references to assets that I've already uploaded. And what I can do, let's say I wanted to just update text, and I can actually just add a new language straight in this CSV file. So I can add a German description. I can add German release notes. I don't speak German, so I'm just going to put some English text in. And then what I'm going to do is I'd like the whole listing to use everything. If I haven't provided something specifically for German, I'd like it to use what I've already uploaded for English. So all of my screenshots, my trailers, they don't have text in them, so it's fine if I just provide new German text and reuse the assets I've already uploaded. So I can do that by pasting the English content I've already configured into this column called default. Now I can add as many languages as I want here. For the purpose of the demo, I'm just going to add German. I'm going to go back, grab the path to this, and go to import. So right now, I'm only changing text, so I'm going to choose the upload just the CSV option. So Dev Center is going to take the CSV, it's going to parse it out. Notice that I've added German. It's going to go down the German column. It's going to put the new text in. Where it doesn't find any text, it's going to use what's in the default column, which in my case is all of the assets from English. All right, so now, in the span of about 2 minutes, I've created an entirely new listing for German. This used to take about an hour to do all of the assets. Even if it was the same asset, I'd have to re-upload it. And we just did it in about 2 minutes. So I have my German description, my German release notes, and as you can see, all of these assets are now in the German language. So let me go back, and we will show you. So what if you have new assets? Like what if I wanted to add French? And French, I have different colored images. Instead of blue, I'm going to use a set of red images, just for demo purposes. So what I can do is import listings, and instead of uploading just the CSV with my text, I'm going to upload an entire folder. So I'm going to choose the French folder, and as you can see, I have one CSV in that folder that tells Dev Center exactly what I want to do. I have local references to these new images. Dev Center is going to parse the CSV, find the local references, find the images in the folder, upload each image, and get that all into Dev Center in the span of a few seconds. So we know that some of our publishers that are doing extensive localization have spent an hour per language to do this. And when you have 50 or 100 languages, that really added up. What I've shown you here makes it possible to hand off files to localizers, get folders back with assets, with the text, and then, oh, I opened German instead of French. It's going to be a better demo if I open French. France. But we've reduced that to a matter of minutes. We've also eliminated the possibility of human error, because when you're cutting and pasting into a web UI in a language that you don't personally speak, it's really hard to know if you've made a mistake. So here we have the French text, we have all the French images, and import, export. Let me do that in the matter of a few minutes.
So those two features you talked about, import, export, and the video trailers, I mean, they're just amazing. How can developers get access to that?
So as you can see, it's already live in Dev Center. We're using the production code here. We are starting that rollout now. So over the next month or so, you will see it in Dev Center. If you want to be first in line, come talk to us afterwards, and we can get your contact info and make sure that you're at the beginning of that rollout. So just a quick review. With export, you can export all your languages in CSV. You get paths to the images you've already uploaded. With import, you can upload images, videos, and you can do just one language. If you have 10 different localizers, you can hand them each one file and import just what they give you back, because there's no reason that they need to overwrite all your other languages. You can even do a partial import. If you just drop rows, Dev Center will say, great, I'll change the things that you're asking me to change. I'll leave everything else intact. So that's import, export. There's also some new features that are coming online that will help your customers find apps that have certain features. So for apps, things like Cortana. I really like talking with Cortana. She knows some really good jokes. And I like the way that I can interact with my computer with my voice. And we know that apps are integrating with that and providing those experiences. So if I go to the store and say, I'd like to find apps that let me interact with Cortana, there's a new search filtering experience that I can use in the store, and it'll be live in about a month. So if your app integrates with Cortana or Ink or Continuum, you now have the ability to say, Windows Store, please show me in search filtered results for people looking for these things. For games, if I have a bunch of friends over and I'm looking for great multiplayer games, you have similar capabilities that you can declare so that your game shows up in search results. If you have a great 4K or HDR TV that you want to show off, and you're looking for games that really shine on that kind of screen, then if you have that game in the store, you can say, please let me show up in those search results. And that is also on Dev Center. I'll show you real quick where you declare that. So we're in a submission. This happens to be an app. So under properties, we have supports Continuum, supports Pen and Ink, supports Cortana. So in Dev Center, you can click these to indicate to the store that your app supports these and should show up in filtered results. And then when that filtering comes online, customers will be able to find your app. So let's talk about planning your release. We have all these great techniques for getting your app in front of customers, helping them discover the experience. But what about that transition from, I'm working on my app, it's in development, I want to validate it before it's public in the store? So there's really three questions. Who can see it right now? How do you ensure quality when it comes to that release time? And when can your customers find and acquire it? So today, you have essentially three options for the question of who can see it now. You can make it available to everyone. Means it shows up in search results when you're browsing for apps. You can make it available only to people who have a direct link. Search is turned off, browse is turned off. But if you post the link on your website, anyone who follows that will be able to see it. And you could also limit it with a promo code. So it's still direct link only, but in order to acquire it, you would have had to give them a promo code. So the problem that we heard from your feedback is there isn't a way to test your code in production and fully hide it in the store. That deep link, it always works when you publish it to the store. So I'm really happy to talk today about private beta. So we are solving that problem such that only group members will be able to see the app. So if you're using package flighting already, you probably have customer groups. You might have a group of testers. You might have a group of enthusiasts. And you're rolling out your packages to those small groups first, validating the quality, and then moving the packages to the larger groups. What we're letting you do here is essentially only the people in the group can see the app in the store. Go ahead and switch me there. So I'd like to show that to you in action today. So this is fun because it's kind of a negative demo. Usually when we're on stage, we want to show you something that like, boom, it works. This demo is to show you that I can't actually see the app in the store. If you notice here, I am not authenticated. So I have a direct link queued up. When I hit run, this is a MS Windows Store protocol link that goes directly to an app. It's a game, actually, that is hidden in the store. So the store telling me, I'm sorry, Jonathan, I can't do that, is exactly what we're looking for here. Even if this link gets posted on social media, it doesn't help anyone. They still can't see it. They just think, oh, it's a bad link. So what I can do is I can log in with my personal account, which happens to be a part of the private beta. So as soon as I authenticate, the store will reprocess the request as me. And welcome to Phantom Dust. Phantom Dust is an actual game that is launching soon that has been hidden in the store for the last month or so. And I very kindly got permission from the team to show it to all of you on stage to illustrate how this feature will allow you to keep things hidden in the store until you're ready for your customers to see them. Go ahead and switch them back. All right, and we did that demo. So how do you ensure that when you're ready for your customers to see your app in the store, that your experience is really high quality? What you do is you combine these features. So you publish your app to a small private beta audience, maybe just to your testers at first. Then, over time, you update the app and click those other groups to say, I'd like my coworkers to see them, my enthusiasts to see them. Because before we launch software, we want it to be replicated on lots of different devices with different users, find any bugs that are there. Then I can add package flights. So private beta controls who can see the app in the store, who can acquire it. Package flights control which packages get delivered to each audience. My daily builds might go automatically to my testers. The best build of the week might go to my coworkers. And then eventually, the best build of the month or every few weeks will go to my audience of everyone. Eventually, I'll get to a point where I'm really close, but I care a lot about these coworkers and enthusiasts. They're relying on my app, so I will use gradual rollout. So within each publish to each group, I'll roll out to 5%, then 10%. I'll watch telemetry for a few days. I'll find any issue. If I find an issue that's bad, I'll stop the rollout, create a bug fix, and then repeat the process. So I have really fine-grained control of making sure that what all of my users get is really high quality. And when I'm ready to launch, I'll update the app again to a public audience. Now everyone can see it, and I have really high confidence that when they get my app, it's going to be a great experience for them. So, lastly, we have new capabilities to schedule when they can find your app in the store. It's not based on publishing because the app's been in the store for months. You've been testing in private. You've been doing all this quality assuring techniques. And so what you can do now is set the time. You can set a release schedule. So it's published, it's ready to go. It's no longer private, but it's still not showing up in search results, and it's still not acquirable. And you can say, release at this specific time. You can even do a local time so that it releases at noon in each market. You can also set it for different markets. If you want to release on Friday in the UK and on Monday in Japan, you can set that up ahead of time, and Store will do the right thing. And we've already started the rollout of this as well. So we've talked about reaching your customers and planning your release. I think, Bernardo, you have a few things to add about sales.
Yeah, thank you very much. So again, you design how the app is going to look. You decided to release. It's already released. It's working. So how can we make it better? How can we improve it? So I'm going to talk about a couple of things. The first one is how do you manage sales with some new advanced capabilities that we're releasing. And then how do you analyze quality? So let's start with the sales. So let me run a demo here. So for sales, what you have to do, you're looking at Dev Center. You choose an app, and then you go to the submission, and then in the submission, you go to pricing and availability. That's where you control pricing and availability. And what we're starting to roll out, we actually started a couple months, and we're accelerating the rollout. You should see this in about a month, all of you, is all of these new capabilities you'll see today. We have visibility that Jonathan mentioned before. We had schedule that, again, Jonathan mentioned before. And then you have pricing. Pricing, you can choose whatever price tier you want, and let's start to see some new things. You can choose whatever currency works best for you. Not only that, you can also schedule a price change. So let's say you launch an app at a certain higher price, and then starting on this date, it's going to actually go to lower price. So globally, you have already this schedule. You don't have to worry it's going to change the base price of the game. You can choose a specific date, let's say 1 p.m. UTC. You want the same date and time all over the world for the price change. Or you can use local. That means at 1 p.m. in every market, as it becomes 1 p.m. in every market, then the price will change. This is the same mechanism we have for release. That's how you can very precisely choose date and time, and the same we'll have for sales. But this is the global pricing. You can then customize for a specific market. So I want, let's say, a few markets, or let's say all the Xbox markets, I'm going to select them. All of those, I'm just going to create another set of prices just for those. And again, I can choose a currency, and I can choose the price change. So all these capabilities give you very precise control about the pricing. That's one aspect of the capabilities. Let me actually show you the next big item. The next big item is, you have the clicker? I have it here, okay. The next big item is sales themselves, which is discount. Discount appears, as you see in the screen, with a strike-through. And here, just quick show of hands. Who likes sales? Of course, I mean, I'm an Amazon fan, and I look when things go down, and then I buy them. Well, there are many users that do the same thing. So having the strike-through, having a better price, it's critical. And not only that, we also say how many hours remaining, because if it's only 12 hours or one more day remaining, it actually forces people to make a decision. That's a very, very powerful feature. And we had sales for a while in Dev Center, but now we've supercharged all those capabilities. So let's see sales capabilities. Again, you can select whatever markets, and then you create a sale. So you can choose a new price. So instead of whatever price it was, you can choose, let's say, $139. That existed before. What's new is you have very, very precise timing. So you can select started at local time, let's say, the first day of the year. Well, I'm going to do it at 9 a.m., the first day of the year, and then I'm going to end it a few days later. So that date is already scheduled. You can schedule Thanksgiving, Boxing Days, Chinese New Holiday. It's all scheduled for these two markets. Everyone that goes into the store will get to see that sale. That's typical sales. Now you can do something different. You can choose percentage. You couldn't do that before. You can say 30, 40, 50, 33% discount. And it's 33% discount of whatever price you had there. So you can mix and match prices plus discounts. So that's another advanced feature. It gives you a lot more flexibility. And you can schedule all of those. You can schedule sales for the next 6 months, and they will happen exactly at that time. Then it becomes more interesting. You don't want to offer sale for everyone. Let's say I want to offer sale because I had a 2016 app, now I have the 2017 app. You got the 2016, thank you very much. I'm going to give you 50% discount if you're getting my new version. So you give them 50% discount for a limited amount of time to any one of your users that own the other app. So you reward loyalty or you promote upgrades. That's an extremely powerful feature. Not only that, you can actually select a flight group. Jonathan, you mentioned flight groups before.
Right. So what this means is that if I have a group of enthusiasts who've been giving me feedback on my new private beta or a flight of my next version, I can actually offer them discounts on my apps and games as a thank you for being a part of my enthusiast program. This is super powerful for building that connection.
Yeah, that's great. And one more segment. If you go here in Dev Center to engage customer groups, you can create segments. Those segments are used for flight groups, and they're used for many features in Dev Center, and they can also be used for sales. So let's look at the segments. Because how many of you have used segments in the store, in Dev Center? You don't count, you work in Dev Center. It's 2 people there. Okay. It's not an easy to find feature. We now, with the new design, we made it much easier to be found. What a segment is, you can select who is going to get part of that segment. You can base it on acquisitions, on demographics, on rating, on purchases. Have they spent money, not spent money? Have they downloaded more apps or not? Let's take a very curious one, rating. So I'm going to create a group of people that have not rated my app. Well, guess what? Once I create that segment, I can give them a discount. I can make it 50% off if you have not rated it. Or the opposite, 50% if you have rated it. If you have rated my app, you get a discount. So these are just examples of the multiple things you can do with segments. So here, there's another segment that appears starting this Monday for everyone, which is first-time payers. These are people that have not purchased anything in the store. You want them to make their first purchase. And why is that important? In the games that we try this out, once we get someone to give the store the credit card, they actually continue making purchases 8 or 10 times more than what was the initial purchase. So that discount will help you get those customers continue purchasing more in your app, and of course in other apps and games you have in the store. So all of those are ways of targeting the deals, targeting the discounts, so you can do much more precise sales, targeting specific segments. Thank you. It's a very, very rewarding to see that going live. Finally, if you want to see all those prices and start analyzing all the prices that you need to use per country, well, I guess you have to actually go here to pricing, and you can do a price table. But people have told us you've told us that price table is very complicated to use. I mean, it's there, it works, but then I have to click on here and scroll to the right and then go and open this. Can you just export it and give it to me in a CSV? Well, now you can. So you click on download the CSV, and you get all the prices. You can give it to your business people, you can give it to price analysis, and you have all the countries, all the currencies, all the price tiers here for you to do the analysis. And then when you go to Dev Center, you know exactly which price do you want to get. So that's also, based on your feedback, we added all that. And there's a much more detailed recording, 10-minute recording, so it's P4116. Look at it, it's another one of the build sessions, just specifically dedicated to advanced pricing and scheduling. So as we were mentioning, you launch your app. One of the options you can do to improve it is through sales. Another one of the options is just through analysis. What's going on with my app? What's working, what's not working? Where is it failing? What can I do to acquire more customers? So there's 3 things I want to talk about today. The new app overview page, the conversion funnel, and the crash downloads. So let's look at the first one, which is the app, the analytics overview. Again, using the new dashboard, I go here to analyze overview, and you can see all the analytics for up to 5 apps or games. So you can see which are the apps or games in your account that have had more acquisitions the last 30 days, or more add-on purchases, or more active users, or failure hits. So it's an easy way to be able to see the status of all your apps at a glance in a dashboard. So that's also coming with the new Dev Center redesign that you have access if you join the Dev Center Insider. Now, let's go into one of the apps. In this demo, you go to acquisitions, and you could see the acquisitions over time. We had that before. Installs over time, we had that. And now we have an acquisition funnel. Acquisition funnel shows you how many people landed on the store, viewed the page, and then how many people in there actually got the app, and how many people installed it and then are using it. So you can see in this specific case, there's a huge drop-off. There's something going on with my page. People reach there and they just don't want to get the app. How can we, clearly there's an issue here. I don't know if there's any suggestions on how to make the page more exciting to get more downloads.
This is where the ability to add that video that shows off the experience can really help with that transition from becoming someone who looked at the app to becoming someone who acquired the app.
Yeah. And that, again, it's an example of what you can do with this analysis to figure out, it's always going to be a funnel, but you don't want it to be like this a cliff drop off and then like that. You want it to be a funnel. And that helps you pinpoint the areas of opportunity. The final area I want to talk about is crash analysis. And one of the things that impacts your app most if it starts failing a lot. So you need to find out where it crashed, how it crashed. So we have all this health analysis. It gives you all the failure hits that you have, which packages have failed. We have a new world map if you haven't seen it, all of that in the new dashboard redesign. And we have the failures that we had before. So if I click on one of the failures, I'll get the details of that failure specifically over time. We had that before. Failure log. And then if you click stack trace, it pops up a window, shows you the stack trace. But what's brand new is this link here, the failure download. It gives you access to the mini dump files that are critical for your debugging. You have asked us that for a long time. Finally, it's live. We're starting the release now. Over summer, you're going to be able to see it on the store. And any crashes coming from users running Windows Insider will be here. Windows Insiders, when they signed the terms, they agreed to provide that information. So that segment of tens of millions of very active customers are the ones that are generating these CAP files. So extremely, extremely powerful to be able to debug your app. So those are some examples of the new capabilities we're launching for analytics: app review, conversion funnel, crash downloads. So you've seen a lot today. What are some recommendations for you to take home? First one is this next Monday, 3 days, there's going to be a blog. We're launching it in the store, and we're explaining every single one of the features we talked about today, with links to documentation, how to access it, and several more features we just didn't have time to cover today. It's all going to be there. Second, make sure you join the Dev Center Insider program. As you heard today many times, Dev Center Insiders are the first ones to get access to new features. So do it. You can opt in and opt out anytime. It's just optional, but it gives you access to these new capabilities earlier than the developers not in the program. Jonathan and I will be the rest of the day at the hub here in the store area, so please find us there, and we can help answer any questions. And here are some examples of the other sessions that I think are relevant, related to the topic we talked about today, from monetization, advertising, Xbox Live, and even our own session there. So,
and I'd like to add one thing to this, which is Bernardo showed you the feedback link very briefly on the top right now. We read every piece of feedback that comes through Dev Center. It is a very important way that we learn what's working, what needs to be improved. So please, if you don't get a chance to chat with us here or at the hub, please leave your feedback. We read every piece of it. It's very important.
And when you say we, it's actually we. It's about 6 of us that we read it. Well, thank you very much, and just please complete the evaluation form. Again, help us understand who's doing a good job and try to do it better next year. Thank you.
And I think we have time for questions.
Time for questions. If somebody has questions, they just step on the mic and we'll be able to answer it. Or we'll meet afterwards.
I have a question.
Excellent.
So I'm trying to think about how I should think about Windows, actually. You have the mobile space, iOS and Android dominate. Based on what I saw yesterday in the keynote, it seems like Windows is sort of a mission control after you do what you do on your mobile device. I think that's kind of what I'm seeing as how it's being positioned. How should I think about Windows? How should I think about developing apps and monetizing apps within the store, and where does that fit into potential customers' lives? If they are buying iOS or Android devices, how should I think about Windows and taking advantage of that?
So it's a broad question. So I'm a developer myself, so I have a little time on the weekends where I have to think, where do I invest my time in that weekend? Should I invest in building an app for iOS, building an app for Windows, taking a desktop app, taking a UWP app and building it available for everyone? And unfortunately, the answer is depends. Depends what you want to do. If you're a big company and you want to reach consumers using phone, I think the primary platforms you'll choose is iOS and Android. You have to do that. And you could also do phone, Windows Phone. But those are the primary platforms. If you want to reach customers using HoloLens or a Windows PC or Xbox One or a tablet reading Windows, there's no other option. I mean, this is the best option. The Dev Center, you submit it. The store reaches out more than 500 million users. So it really depends on what you want to do. But many of the customers or partners we're talking to, they just want to reach out to customers, whatever the device they're in. So they like UWP to reach all of those devices. And they might also do an Android or an iOS app for phone devices. It just really depends on how much time do you want to do, if it's a game, if it's an app. It just, those are things you might have to think about.
One follow-up to that. So it seems like Project Rome is allowing, and Project Rome and the Microsoft Graph is allowing Microsoft to actually get their tentacles into the mobile space, because now you're sort of like a additional operating system on top of an operating system, because you can start on iOS and then you end up on Windows to finish up. Is that something that you think would be compelling or more compelling, that would drive people that would normally just try to finish everything on an iOS app to Windows to finish up? Like, I'm going to do something quick on iOS and Android because I can't wait to get back to Windows, or whether it's my Surface, to finish that up, because that's a better experience for what I want to do.
I think we've all encountered tasks that are brilliant on a mobile device or frustrating on a mobile device, depending on the task. For consumption tasks, mobile's great. You know, I can pull up a PowerPoint, I can flip through it, I can review it. I don't know about you, but if I need to do the creative tasks, the working on the spreadsheet or working on something that needs that input, I always go to my laptop or my desktop to do those tasks. Yeah. And they're each, you know, there's strengths at both ends of that spectrum.
Yeah, we are not the experts on Project Rome, so I don't think I can contribute anything to that. I think better to go to the hub and talk to the people that are the experts on that. And there's booths for most of the things you talked about today. They'll be able to tell you much more precisely than us.
Great job on the store, though.
Thank you.
It looks good. Thank you.
Hi, so I love the promotions that you did. Maybe as an idea, I have no idea how this would work in detail, but would it be possible to give users who already own my product on Android or iOS or maybe Steam an extra promotion on the store, which basically would require somehow to detect that they own this product, or maybe enter a promo code or something like that?
Yeah, there's at least one option that we have done several times. Is let me take the simple example. I want you all that came to the session today to get 50% discount of one of my apps. How do I do that? The way to do it is you create an app that is called the promo app, and it's hidden, nobody can get it, nobody can acquire it, and I give you all promo codes. So you have to distribute the promo codes to the user. You need to know who they are, else we don't know who they are. Once they get it, you redeem the code in the store, and then you own that promo app. And now we use the sales mechanism. We say, if you own that app, you'll get 50% off of the main game. So so you create this app, which even you can have some nice text about it's a promotion, and then you can drive the sales.
All right, thanks.
So the private build for group flighting scenarios, when will that be available? And second question is, does that also work with desktop bridge apps, or is it only for universal apps?
So as you saw, like we live demoed it, it's in the catalog today. We are still finishing up the UI for it, so we will be rolling it out in a few months. Talk with us if you want to be first in line for that rollout. We can make that happen. It will work with any app that is in the store. So if you have a desktop bridge app and you're putting it into the store, from the store's perspective, you have a store listing and you have packages. And any type of package can be delivered from that store listing. So yes, it absolutely will work with desktop bridge apps as well.
It's interesting. I don't know if you mentioned in the presentation, but flighting, which is already live, it's a great mechanism to distribute packages. And it's been surprising. It's so effective that we had more than 30,000?
Yeah, we're over 30,000 individual package flights right now.
Yeah, I mean, developers love it. It's super exciting. So now that we get the private beta, I'm sure we're going to see also a lot of usage. It's extremely powerful, and it will work with desktop bridge apps.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question. Have you considered like basically a test release functionality in the store? Like if you have an app that can't be easily tested with a side loadable build or whatever, because like the app we're working on, we often run into the thing of we submit a test release and then it comes back from the store, oh, you failed cert because, you know, your screenshot has, you know, a frame rate counter on it. And we're trying to release it only to testers, you know, like our internal test team, but then suddenly we're like, oh, okay, so now we need to wait 3 days, submit another thing, and, you know, and get, you know, before we can actually test and figure out
Right.
some other thing with like video playback or whatever.
So that is certainly on our mind as we come up with the right processes for private beta. There are certain tests that we will always run because we don't think it's in anyone's interest to ship a package that won't install. So those automated tests that make sure that the Windows App Certification Kit, that the app itself will load and do all of the things that are tested there, that always runs. But for private, we are definitely aware that, you know, when you are shipping something that is a private beta to your test team, you're absolutely right. We shouldn't be failing because of the content of your screenshot. And I know that our certification team is hammering out the right policy there.
Cool. Yeah, because I mean, one thing that might be useful is something like a checkbox that, you know, hey, this is only for internal testing or something, just to communicate. Because I can imagine, you know, it's hard to know whether, gee, is this going out, you know, to real users or internal folks.
And we do have the notes for certifiers field that you can communicate directly to them. Hey, this is the intention here. You'll see it's a private beta. It's just internal.
And when we say it's an internal testing thing, we still get failed. So,
I think I get your point.
Yeah.
Yes, if you could just, yes. You're talking to the leader of all the store, of that center. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Thank you for all the features. I have one feedback. Whenever we submit apps to the store, when we run into issues, the only support that we get is from forums. Or we get the result back, but we can't talk to anyone. We call the support. Most of the time we get routed to frontline support. One case, it was hilarious. The frontline support actually forwarded to my own company's support. So is there any contacts that we could reach out when we are running into app submission issues?
I mean, we have more than, I don't know how many developers, 700,000 developers. So the option that is available in the store is through the support feedback. Actually, you have it in the top right now in the new dashboard. That's support. And it opens a support ticket. That's one of the best ways. The other way is you submit a feedback. If it's just general questions or general feedback, you send it to the feedback, and we are the ones that review that. But for support, we have the support organization. If I don't have any.
I would say that if you've had sort of experiences that left you wanting more, come chat with us so that we can learn exactly what happened and we can try to do the right thing there.
Yeah, or find gaps.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. We'll be here, and later we'll be at the booth.
We'll be in the hub later.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.